The story of Edward V and his younger brother, Richard, Duke of York, remains one of the most compelling mysteries in British history. These young heirs to the throne vanished in the Tower of London in 1483, their fate shrouded in darkness. What became of the princes? Were they victims of murder, political machination, or something even more sinister? The enigma of their disappearance has sparked centuries of intrigue, speculation, and debate. The Tower of London, a site of royal residence, imprisonment, and execution, provides a fittingly dramatic backdrop for this dark tale. The question of who might have been responsible for their disappearance continues to tantalize historians and amateur sleuths alike, making it a story that refuses to be forgotten. The stage is set, the Wars of the Roses. The tale of the princes in the Tower begins amid the Wars of the Roses, 1455 to 1485, a violent struggle between the rival houses of Lancaster and York for the English throne. Edward IV of York emerged victorious, seizing the throne and imprisoning his Lancastrian rival, Henry VI, in the Tower of London. The era's political instability bred betrayals and conspiracies, setting the stage for later events involving Edward's sons. Edward IV's secret marriage to Elizabeth Woodville in 1464, a commoner with Lancastrian ties, caused courtly uproar and fractured Yorkist unity. Despite this, Elizabeth became a powerful queen, advancing her family's influence and securing marriages for her children. Her rise, however, drew enemies and heightened tensions. Edward IV's sudden death in 1483 at age 41 shocked the nation, leaving his young sons, Edward and Richard, vulnerable. Amid the power struggle that followed, the princes became central to one of England's most infamous political mysteries, the rise of Richard III. On Edward IV's deathbed, he entrusted his 12-year-old son, Edward V, to the care of his loyal brother, Richard, Duke of Gloucester. Richard was named Lord Protector until the young king came of age. Edward V, residing at Ludlow Castle, began his journey to London, accompanied by his maternal uncle, Earl Rivers. This journey, intended to be a triumphant procession to his coronation, instead marked the beginning of a tragedy. Richard's actions upon meeting the entourage revealed his true intentions, as he swiftly arrested key members of the Woodville faction under accusations of treachery. These arrests eliminated Edward's closest protectors and allowed Richard to take control of the boy king's destiny. However, Richard intercepted the entourage en route. He arrested Earl Rivers and other Woodville allies, accusing them of treachery. The young king was placed in the Tower of London, ostensibly for his protection. Soon after, his younger brother, Richard, Duke of York, joined him. What appeared to be standard procedure for an impending coronation quickly turned ominous. Richard's consolidation of power accelerated with Parliament's declaration that the princes were illegitimate. This legal maneuver, rooted in claims that Edward IV's marriage to Elizabeth Woodville was invalid, allowed Richard to assume the throne with little resistance. The speed and efficiency of Richard's rise to power fueled suspicions about his involvement in the prince's fate. Parliament declared Edward IV's marriage to Elizabeth Woodville invalid, citing a pre-contract of marriage with Lady Eleanor Butler. This rendered the princes illegitimate, stripping them of their claim to the throne. With this legal maneuver, Richard, Duke of Gloucester, declared himself King Richard III and was crowned on July 6, 1483. While some contemporaries supported Richard's claim, others viewed his actions as an outright usurpation. The legitimacy of Richard's rule remained contentious, and his subsequent policies reflected a ruler deeply aware of the fragile foundation of his reign. The vanishing princes. Initially, the princes were seen playing in the Tower Gardens, but their appearances grew less frequent. According to the Italian chronicler Dominic Mancini, the boys were eventually confined to the inner apartments of the tower. By late 1483, they vanished entirely. Mancini's account, written based on observations and rumors at court, described the princes' movements becoming increasingly restricted. He noted that they were seen more rarely behind the bars and windows until they ceased to appear altogether. This eerie description has become one of the most cited pieces of evidence in the case of their disappearance. Rumors swirled about their fate. Mancini's account suggested foul play, noting that the boys were seen more rarely behind the bars and windows until they ceased to appear altogether. The prince's disappearance coincided with Richard III's increasing paranoia and ruthless consolidation of power. Other chroniclers of the period recorded whispers of murder, with accusations directed at Richard's close allies and even at Richard himself. The absence of concrete evidence, however, has left the true events shrouded in ambiguity. Whodunit, theories, and suspects. Historians and storytellers have long speculated on who might have ordered the deaths of the princes. While Richard III remains the prime suspect, several others had motives and means. The context of the time, marked by political betrayals and fierce struggles for power, created an environment where multiple parties could benefit from the boys' disappearance. This complexity has only deepened the intrigue surrounding the case, as each suspect brings a unique set of motives and opportunities to the narrative. Richard III, the obvious culprit. Richard III had the most to gain from the prince's disappearance. As king, he faced threats from Yorkist loyalists, who might rally behind the boys. Eliminating them would solidify his rule and remove a major source of unrest. However, direct evidence linking Richard to their deaths is absent, leaving room for doubt. His defenders argue that Richard had little to gain from such an act, as the disappearance of the princes only fueled opposition to his reign. Nonetheless, his reputation, tainted by Tudor propaganda, has cemented him as the primary villain in popular accounts of the mystery. Henry Stafford, Duke of Buckingham. A close ally of Richard III, Buckingham's loyalty wavered. Some theories suggest he acted independently, believing he would curry favor with Richard by removing the boys. Others argue that Buckingham harbored ambitions for the throne himself. His abrupt rebellion against Richard in 1483 and subsequent execution for treason add weight to the theory that Buckingham's actions were driven by his own aspirations. Historians continue to debate whether Buckingham was a pawn in Richard's game or an opportunist exploiting the chaos. Henry VII. After defeating Richard III at the Battle of Bosworth in 1485, Henry Tudor ascended to the throne as Henry VII. His claim to legitimacy rested on marrying Elizabeth of York, the prince's sister. For this to carry weight, the princes had to be dead. Did Henry eliminate them to secure his rule? It's possible, though unlikely given the timeline. Henry's actions after taking the throne, including the execution of rival claimants and his focus on consolidating power, suggest a pragmatic approach to eliminating threats. However, his involvement in the prince's disappearance remains speculative. Margaret Beaufort. The mother of Henry VII, Margaret Beaufort, was a shrewd and determined woman. Her loyalty to her son's cause was unwavering, and she had a network of spies and allies. Could she have orchestrated the prince's deaths to clear the path for Henry's ascension? Her calculated political maneuvers and influence within Tudor circles make her a plausible suspect. However, no direct evidence links her to the princes, leaving her role in the mystery a matter of conjecture. John Howard, Duke of Norfolk. As the custodian of the Tower at the time, Norfolk had access and the ability to execute such a plot. However, his loyalty to Richard III suggests he would have acted on the king's orders rather than independently. Howard's subsequent rewards, including the young Duke of York's Norfolk estate, have raised questions about his potential involvement. Yet, like many aspects of the case, the evidence is circumstantial at best. Skeletons beneath the stairs. In 1674, workers demolishing a staircase in the White Tower discovered a wooden chest containing the skeletons of 2 children. These remains were reburied in Westminster Abbey, where they remain to this day. A forensic examination in 1933 suggested they were the bones of 2 boys aged 10 and 12, consistent with the prince's ages. The discovery reignited interest in the case, as the bones' location within the tower seemed to corroborate the theory of their imprisonment and death within its walls. However, without modern DNA testing, their identities cannot be conclusively confirmed. Efforts to analyze the bones using contemporary techniques have been hindered by legal and ethical concerns. The possibility of identifying the remains through genetic testing offers a tantalizing prospect for solving the mystery. Yet the lack of consensus among historians and institutions has stalled progress. The debate over the bones underscores the enduring fascination with the case and the lengths to which people will go to uncover the truth. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. If you enjoyed unraveling this mystery with us, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating stories from the past. Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep exploring, and we'll see you in the next video.